Well, hello, Bonnie.
Hello, and welcome to our podcast, True Crime Tea and Tangents. I am your host, Bonnie Watkins.
I am your other host, Duca.
Your co-host, if you will.
Or like Madonna, or,
You know, you do you. Whatever makes your heart sing. I'm so happy with. What are you drinking today?
I am drinking butterfly pea flower. And it looks black, but it's actually a really dark blue.
Oh, that's cool.
Purple.
I see the blue a little bit in there.
Yeah, I was wishing I had and when you first put the steeper in, and it's just barely turns blue, and then it gets bluer and bluer. And it's super good just for it's high in antioxidants, skin health, brain health, it's just all those positive health things. So it's the first time I've ever tried it.
How does it taste?
A little grassy. I don't hate it. It's really mild.
Grassy is not what I would have picked for a deep blue drink.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to throw some blueberries in here because you just really got it to be fruity.
You want it to be blue.
Yeah, it's just the tea in here, just the flour. It's super mild.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's so pretty though.
It
so pretty.
Does look, and you have it in such a pretty cup.
That's because on this, you 100% got to see the tea.
You do.
Really it's like a visual.
It's part of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have my 3-week-old daughter's formula that I am not personally drinking, but that is my warm beverage of the afternoon because this whole day, as happens when you have a 3-week-old, has just.
What?
I don't even
That's
know.
the sound you make when a day veers off track. It goes, what?
Yep. So I sat down and I opened my computer and I was like, I don't have a drink, but I have formula, which doesn't smell appetizing, so I can't imagine it is appetizing. But she eats it, and it's warm.
That's because luckily she doesn't know any better.
I know.
Right? So, she had milk, and then she had formula, and it's just it is what it is.
Yeah, she only had milk for a week before she was like, oh, formula, that's my life now. And that's going to be her life until she has solid foods in a few months, so it'll be great. She'll love it. It's all she'll know.
In the world of opportunity.
Although her brothers do keep trying to give her orange juice and chocolate milk.
They're so nice.
They're very sharing. They really want to share all of their things with her. They want to share their monster trucks with her. They want her to go down the slide with them.
Oh, yeah.
They want a lot of things that she is not yet capable of doing.
Not yet capable of doing.
Yeah. But I guess, fun little update for our readers, because our first episode we talked about I was pregnant and epidural, no epidural, inducement. I had a baby.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that happened. Did do the epidural, but that's because I did get induced. Kind of regret it because labor was very, very quick, and I feel like I could have done it without it.
You don't know these things at the time.
I know.
You're doing them,
I know.
And all your other babies have been so much longer, and this time you were being induced.
I was. That's why I picked it. I was like, well, I'm being induced. That's way more painful. I'm just going to get the Pitocin. But then 2 hours later, I had a baby. And I feel like I could have handled it for 2 hours, but I did not know it was going to be 2 hours. They were expecting it to be 6. So that's kind of the number I had in my head.
That's still really amazing. We have this beautiful blending of your body about to give birth, plus they gave you some Pitocin, and boom, out shoots a baby.
Yeah, literally she outshot a baby. She was, as with all of my babies, basically birthed herself. I was just the means. She was the method. Also, I do have my little baby girl with me today, so my apologies to our listeners for any little squeaks and squawks that the microphone picks up of her little sleeping noises. Because she's super cute and she's sleeping, but she's making her little squeak squawk noises.
Apologies, my eye. Just enjoy these little cooing sounds and little squeaks and gurgles in the background.
Yeah.
They are adorable. I love them.
I know. I can't. She's a little sick, and I can't bring myself to put her down because she's only 3 weeks old, and there's nothing quite so sad as a sick 3-week-old.
You know, it's funny you should mention that because you live in Utah, I live in Washington, and my youngest girl is also very sick. She's 17, so it's a lot harder for me to like scoop her up. But honestly, I've been like, well, what can I get you? And that's just, I mean, it's been like, I got her an extra blanket, turned the heat up, made her breakfast, got her a cup of tea, put her essential oils on her, got her, all the supplements, and yeah,
Yeah.
applied the deep blue to her, like, and applied the breathe to her. It was awesome. Anyway, it's because I can't scoop her up and hug her and hold her.
I know. There's just something about like a mom when you see your kid is just so sad and so sickly. You're just like, but why? Let me help you.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was thinking I would love to be cuddled when I was sick. When I was like, it would be great if somebody just came and scooped me up, put me in the cradle position, and hip swayed me, like, did the rocking thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be amazing.
Well, that's the thing. I was trying to, because I've had some postpartum blues, right? I mean, you had a baby 3 weeks ago. Your emotions and your hormones are all over the place, and sometimes I'm just sad for no reason that I can yet find. I'm just sad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was, cuddling with my little baby girl, and I was holding her, and I was like, I would love to just be held right now. I'm sad. She was sad, and then I started holding her, and then she's not sad, and I just feel like that could work for me too.
That could work for everyone, right? Yeah, we need a taller, bigger species that picks us up and cuddles us.
Yeah, but doesn't try to run my life otherwise, because I would not be on board with that.
No. They just, like, their whole purpose is like to pick people up and cuddle them and then put them down and go on their way.
I'm just saying.
I would do that. That would be if I was like way bigger, 100% be like, let me scoop you up.
I just, people keep talking about how AI is going to take over the world and robots are going to kill all of us. But what if we just made a robot that just cuddles?
Cuddlebot, love it.
That should be. I have no engineering skills, but that should be my next invention.
Well, I love how we've done the tangent part and the tea part before we did the true crime part.
Well, to be fair, I think the nature of tangents is they pop up whenever.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to tangent during the true crime.
Yeah, like the tangents are during the tea, during the crime, during the tangent.
Last week's true crime. That's what I wanted to say. It's just been with me so much that I'm telling everybody. Like, can you believe this happened? I think I told my husband twice because I was like, but babe, yeah.
That's so funny. I was trying to tell my husband about it, and he just fell asleep halfway through. He started a new job this last week, and so he's been super tired when he's been home. And so he just like fell asleep mid-sentence. I'm like, well, clearly this is not as riveting to you as it is to me. And that's why you're not my co-host.
He likes it though. It was like you swayed him to sleep with your words. Keep talking, Vaughn.
I often lull him to sleep with my words. It's my soothing tone of voice and not my content. That's what does it.
Well, teach their own, right? Plus, I make him fall asleep anywhere at the drop of a hat.
He can.
Amazing.
It's an incredible skill that he has that I wish I had. But he can. He can fall asleep in 2 seconds flat, anywhere, anytime, any place. It's a gift.
It's a gift.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that it was so interesting to you and that you're sharing the news with people. This one is not quite so dark, but it's going to be a lot more frustrating, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because it is another cold case.
Those are my favorite shows to watch, the cold case, where you're like, I'm sure I've solved it even though there's no evidence.
Yeah, and this one has no evidence. Like, this one honestly might be a little bit of a shorter episode because we have nothing.
There's nothing to say.
There's just questions and mysteries. So, your tea is brewed.
Yeah.
And my true crime is queued.
Yes.
So, let me tell you about Traci Lee Pittman.
Tracy.
So, she was born...
Okay, thank you. I was like, is that a Tracy girl or a Tracy
Yep,
boy?
it is a Tracy girl.
Okay.
She was born on March 15th in 1968. So a little bit of an older case in Montgomery, Alabama. She was a little Southern belle. And she got married in 1993 to a man named Greg Kegley. So if you look her up, sometimes sources have her listed as Traci Pittman. Sometimes sources have her listed as Traci Kegley. Either one is accurate. Oh, and before I forget, my sources for this episode include alabamacoldcase.com, the wetumpkaherald.com, Reddit, and YouTube.
Okay. All right.
So, anyway, she got married in 19... Oh, yeah. Very helpful sources.
Yes, sources, yeah.
Watched like a 45-minute video on her, which is going to be interesting because I don't think I've got 45 minutes worth of stuff to tell you about her. I mean, her family obviously would. But as far as the crime aspect of this case goes, I do not. So anyway, they got married in 1993. And in 1995, they had a little girl. They named her Peyton. All accounts, she was just a beautiful, happy little girl. But in 1997, things weren't going so well for their marriage, and they decided to go ahead and get a divorce. From everything I could find, it was pretty amicable. Like, there wasn't a lot of fighting, there wasn't a lot of anger, there was just, okay, this isn't working, and so we were going to get a divorce. And so in February of 1998, they signed all of the paperwork, and on April 11th of 1998, their divorce was official. So at the time, right before the divorce, Traci was a phlebotomist. But, with the separation, she moved back to her parents' house, and she was like, I need a fresh start. And she got a job that she was scheduled to start shortly after the divorce, working at a local dentist's office. So, fresh start, moving forward, just new job, new place, new life.
I feel like a dentist's office would pay more than a phlebotomist anyway. Having been a phlebotomist, you're kind of like, yeah.
And I don't know. I couldn't find from the sources if it was like as a hygienist or as a receptionist, but dental hygienists make bank. So.
And with her background and being as a phlebotomist, you must have some sort of, anyway, unless you did it just on this is a total tangent, sorry, and she could be a dental assistant, which is one of those things that can lead into becoming a dental hygienist, especially back in the late 90s. Yes.
So she was scheduled to start her job on April 27th of 1998. But on April 26th, she disappeared.
Okay, wait, what? Wait. So she's going to start a job on what day again?
April 27th.
And the day before?
Just disappeared.
Disappears.
Mm-hmm. So she disappears 15 days after her divorce is finalized.
And she has a 3-year-old daughter. 2-year-old daughter, sorry. Okay, that's highly unlikely.
Isn't it? So she had moved, like I said, she'd moved to her mom and dad's house. And on April 26th, she took her daughter to just kind of do a routine errand run. She had borrowed her parents' credit card to go fill up her car with gas and to take care of a couple other errands. So she was last seen at a BP gas station in Wetumpka, Alabama, near the intersection of Highway 231 North and Redland Road. Surveillance footage captured her pumping gas and going into the store to pay. Nothing weird about that.
Right. And they can track that with a credit card as well.
Yes. They know, and there's the camera footage, like they know that it was her. They know that she was there buying gas.
Great. Okay.
They didn't see anything weird on the footage. There wasn't like anybody else with her. She didn't look concerned or scared. Just buying gas.
Person buying gas.
Yep. But the next morning, a resident of Wetumpka found her car. She had a Geostorm parked about 2 miles east of some gravel pits on Old Georgia Road. Doors are open. Daughter is in the car, alone, unharmed, thankfully, but completely alone. Keys are in the car. Car's turned on. Radio's on. Purse is still in the car. The windows are rolled down 2 to 3 inches. No blood. No signs of a struggle. No nothing. No signs of a robbery because all of her belongings are still there. She's just gone.
This is how alien abductions start.
That is, on Reddit, one of the prevailing theories.
But the baby.
Yeah, so whoever took her, if she was taken, did not take her baby, did not harm her baby. Or if she suffered like a mental breakdown and just walked away, she did not take her baby.
Right.
Which I feel like, from all accounts, she was a really good mom. Like, very loving, very devoted mom. It wasn't like she was that her daughter was a newborn and there was still kind of crazy emotions. You hear stories about moms right after having a baby. They can maybe just walk away and leave their baby because they're in the midst of that, like, postpartum depression or something.
Right.
Her daughter was 2 years old. Everything had been fine. Everything had been going well. She was a good mom. Loved her daughter. Loved being with her daughter. Tracy's parents insist that she never in a million years would have just walked away and left her daughter alone in a car until some random person happened to find her.
Okay, so we're talking a geostorm pet, and the doors are open.
One door, the driver's side door.
Okay, good. Okay, the driver's side door is open, but the other window is rolled down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The car is still running.
Mm-hmm.
And the radio is on.
Yep. And the keys are obviously still in the car. Her purse is still in the car. Mm-hmm. So, some people theorized maybe there was like car trouble. And so she left to just see if she could find somebody to help. And she was planning on coming right back. But the car was still running.
Right.
And when police, kind of did an inspection of the car, there was no maintenance or mechanical issues that they found that would warrant her needing to leave. She wasn't out of gas. So nothing that would really warrant her needing to leave just for a second to go find help. There's a theory maybe she just had to go bathroom. It was a pretty isolated, more rural road. So maybe she ran out for a second to just go to the bathroom knowing that she'd be right back, for her daughter, and something happened then and she was taken.
Were there any swamps or marshes nearby? I don't know. Sometimes I think that's the thing, and I don't know. I was like, did she fall into a?
So no swamps, no marshes. There was a gravel pit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So a gravel pit is usually surrounded by more gravel type of substance because they're pulling up the ground. They're getting the gravel out of it, right? Or they're making gravel out of it, and they're storing it until they sell it off to whoever.
Yes, and they did next to or near to the gravel pit or the quarry, there was also a pond. But so police are mobilized, right? Police, it's a small town, not a lot of crime. They're very they absolutely deploy resources to try and find her. They drag the gravel pit and they drain the pond and they find nothing. Wow,
that's super cool. Thanks for answering all my questions because I really wanted to just paint a really great picture in my head about what I was looking at. It's super impressive that they just drained the pond, which makes sense though because if it's the gravel pit, sometimes they have those ponds, right? And they can just
Yeah, I think it was the type of pond where it's not always necessarily a pond, right? Like it's kind of a drainage pond, and so it's not necessarily that hard to drain. There's the resources are set up to do it, but regardless of how hard it was, they did it.
They
but
were like, "This is it. We can find her." It's not.
Yeah, we're going to find this woman and get answers for her family. Mm-hmm. So from what I can tell, nobody ever looked at the husband. Not really. He was never listed or named as a person of interest, which is interesting just because they had just divorced.
Yeah, also tell us that stat about how many times, what's it, when somebody's murdered off or killed off or gone missing, how often is it the spouse?
Well, the spouse is always the first, today, the spouse is always the first person you look at. Mm-hmm. Even if they didn't do it, they're always the person of interest. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's a spouse or if they're having an affair, right? It could also be an extramarital person.
They're in a pretty tight relationship.
A relationship, I should say. Because a lot of people aren't married as much anymore, but a close, intimate relationship. That is often the case. And so, but from what I can tell, there is nothing that I found that suggests that police thought it was him, that he got taken in for questioning or got put into custody at any point. He just was not a suspect in this for whatever reason.
Oh, interesting. And was he, she was a phlebotomist and she moved back home. Was that in the same town or was he living in a town that was a little ways away?
From what I believe he was living in a town that was a little ways away. Not very far, but not the same town.
Okay, gotcha.
And it was the 90s, so I don't know because I couldn't find this because this type of thing is usually sealed, but I'm quite positive she would have gotten full custody of their daughter.
Right.
Because in the 90s, moms got full custody of their children.
That's just the way it went. Okay.
Just kind of the way that it went. Like, that was more of the default. And I'm sure that he assuming he was a good dad, he could have gotten, like visitation or weekends or a couple weeks in the summer or something. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, for me, that would have been a motive that as a criminal prosecutor, I've been like, hey, police, look into this because maybe he wanted custody and he was mad if he didn't get it. I don't know what their custody arrangement was because those documents are not public.
Oh, yeah.
But if she got custody, that easily could have been something he was mad about.
Yeah.
And his daughter was completely unharmed.
Yeah.
But nothing has ever pointed to him. Police have never said we think it's him. So, I want to be very clear about that. I want to know more, but police have never implicated him in this disappearance.
Okay. How long do those kind of custody arrangements stay sealed? Is there any point in time ever where you'll know what the custody arrangement is?
Well, in this one, probably not until the case, because this is still an open case.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure that's part of it. But a lot of times they're just always sealed.
Okay, cool. Sorry,
it depends. No, it's good. It's state to state. Sometimes, if once the child is 18, you can access that information.
I was doing the math in my head, and their daughter's over 18.
Yeah, it's been 2023 was the 25-year anniversary of this disappearance.
Yeah.
So she's well over 18. But there could also be a lot of, and that's part of the reason probably that there isn't as much information about this case as well, is it is still an open case. What's cool about this one is it's not an open case like the Jonathan Luna case is open, where it's open but nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
This one is actively open. So just 5 years ago in 2018, I guess that was longer than 5 years ago. 7 years ago in 2018, they got a bunch of people, law enforcement had a bunch of companies donated help and mapping technology and drones. And they brought in cadaver dogs, drones, mapping, walking searchers, and dive teams. And they searched 300 acres of the nearby area.
That is amazing. Good for them. That's very cool. It sounds like it wasn't as productive as they'd hoped it would be, but way to go.
Yeah, so it's hard because they said that they found forensic evidence as a result of that search.
Ooh.
And they found it in a pond that was on part of those 300 acres. But they haven't told anybody what it is yet. But at the time, they said that they felt like they were really close with what they found. They were very close to making an arrest. But again, that was now 7 years ago, and nothing has happened
so
since
maybe it
then.
Didn't pan out like they'd hoped.
Yeah. But you do still have, Traci's mom has said, I still get calls from the cold case detective. I know that they're still working the case. They'll still check in with me just to let me know that they haven't forgotten. So, the Wetumpka police and that department, that county department, they are still very much so trying to find answers, trying to find information about what they can do to find out what happened to her. Everybody wants this case solved.
Very cool.
So that was...
Everybody's gone. She's gone. Baby's there. She's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Traci's family hired a medium, a psychic, to see if they could get some information. And that turned up empty. Mm-hmm. Lots of companies have donated resources and time to help the authorities do a search. And that's turned up empty. She does have, if anybody happens to see her, she has a cesarean. She had, her daughter was cesarean born, so she has a scar on her abdomen. And she had ear piercings. So those were her two identifying physical features that could help identify her, no matter how long the span of time was between her disappearance, because obviously she's not going to be as young looking as she was 27 years ago.
Yeah.
But her family, Traci's family's theory is that as she was leaving the gas station, so out of sight of the surveillance cameras, that she got overpowered by somebody. They don't know who. Like, they don't have any idea who would have done it or why they would have done it. But that's the family's theory, is that there was some random person out there that just took her but didn't have any interest in her daughter.
Wow. That's it.
That's it.
She's just gone.
She's just gone. And it's crazy because, to me, so the detectives on her case very much so suspect foul play. From everything they've said with the family, they do not think that she just walked away.
Right.
But and it's something that is not as easy to get away with today as it was in the 90s. But if you have someone who's truly a stranger to you, that just one day is like, I want to kill somebody or I want to abduct somebody, it can be really, really hard to solve that crime.
I guess, my mind just got to totally shift gears, because I guess that's true, right? They just, there's no connection to them, so why would they ever find a connection to them?
Exactly. Like, if somebody was like, I just really want to commit a crime, I would first advise that they don't. But then I'd be like, find something that has zero connection to you. Because if they can't find something to tie you to it, and it's easier today to tie people to things, right? Because you have DNA evidence has advanced so much further, and there's just way less privacy because there's cameras everywhere. I mean, and there's also like a lack of your cell phone tracks your movements, right? And so then if you don't bring your cell phone somewhere because you're smart enough to know that also becomes suspicious in and of itself, right? If you bring your cell phone with you everywhere you go, and then all of a sudden for this 3-hour window you just happened to leave it at home.
Leave it at home? Yeah.
Yeah, like that becomes a suspicious clue. And so like there was
Unless you're our mom, then that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you're of a certain age, it's less suspicious. But that's like if you have a pattern of always taking your phone with you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because there was in Moscow, Idaho, a couple years back, there was a killing of these 4 college kids.
Right, there was. I remember that.
And that was for a while because the police didn't release any information. They were super tight-lipped. And it looked like it was just truly random. Like this person picked 4 people or a house and just decided to kill those people. And I was like, gosh, is that going to get solved? Because it's so random. But in 2022 is when that happened, I think. And there's surveillance footage, just in the sense that everybody has their cell phones, everybody's recording and posting things to their TikTok and to their Instagram. You have your cell phone that pings off of different locations. You have so they have arrested somebody for that, and he's going to trial this summer. And they actually did find them pretty quickly. And it just makes you wonder, right, if this didn't happen in 1998, if this happened in 2025, how much more would we know?
Well, so much more. But as you were telling this story, it reminded me of, do you remember when, you don't remember this, but have you ever heard the time where the Agatha Christie went missing for 11 days?
Yes.
Yeah. So
100%. One of the mysteries I want solved in life.
Yeah. So she was found at a hotel later on, right? And they were like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. She tells the story, but they're like, that doesn't make any sense. But she completely had... she found out that her husband was having an affair with his secretary, and it just blew her mind, right? And so she was driving her car, and then her car got into a minor accident, and she just walked out of her car and just couldn't remember even anything. She just walked away. But obviously, Traci wasn't in an accident, but that's 100% what it reminded me of. Like when she's just like, the car is there, the baby is there, nothing is wrong, nothing is broken, there's no blood, there's no evidence of a skirmish or a scuffle or her fighting back. It's just she got up and she walked away.
Yeah. And it could be like her family is super insistent that it's not. But it could be that she had just gone through a divorce. That is a traumatic experience. Even if it's amicable and you want it, that doesn't mean it doesn't have an impact on you. Maybe she did just have like a little mental breakdown and just leave. I mean, it's so, there's so many possibilities because for me, I don't know, I feel like if she was taken, there are a lot of people that won't cross the line into hurting kids, but you're taking this woman and you're just going to leave the 2-year-old like completely alone.
But also the car is running and the door is open.
Yeah.
So raccoons, possums, I don't know, like still.
Well, and it's a pretty isolated road. Like you don't know how long it's going to be until somebody comes along and finds her.
Right? And that baby's just sitting there.
Yeah.
In the basically exposed to the elements. I mean, not overhead exposed, but this was this in the summertime or in the
April?
So okay, and it was the south, so probably warm enough.
Warm. Mm-hmm. No ready access to like food or water.
Right, and babies dehydrate fast.
Yeah. And so that's like, I mean, whoever, if Traci was taken, whoever left the baby did not necessarily, like they didn't harm the baby, but they didn't leave the baby in a good position to be safe.
Right, it's almost like if harm had happened, it would be due to neglect.
Yeah, and a lot of people are fine. Like, there's this line for them of like, well, I'm not overtly committing the crime, right? Like, I am not hurting this child.
Leave it up. We'll just leave it up to fate.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, she was last seen at the gas station the day before, and it wasn't until the next morning. So that baby was probably in that car for at least 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because the car wasn't found that far away from the gas station. It wouldn't have taken an incredibly long time to drive there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thought. We hadn't mentioned that before.
And
so it wasn't even that far away from the gas station. And it was like from gas station camera to when the baby was in the car was found. How long was that?
That was about 12 hours.
Okay.
A little more than.
And did you happen to know like how far away the gas station is from the gravel pit? Like 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
I don't know exactly how far it is, but not too far, like not more than a couple hours maximum.
Okay.
Like I couldn't tell you an exact mileage.
Right.
But it wasn't incredibly far.
I mean, that's, yeah.
And all so, right. I mean, you have this child was there overnight, at least. I mean, that's not good.
Right, because otherwise, that's just, wow. I know, now that I'm thinking about it, there's like so many different options that the possibilities almost become endless. Like, depending on when time she got there and what time she left the vehicle, and did she drive around beforehand, and all those other things, right? And, you know, Geos were really well known for their gas mileage. I had one. It was amazing.
Oh, their fuel efficiency's through the roof.
So having to idle all night probably wouldn't even make that big a difference in the gas needle.
Nope. Probably wouldn't make much of a dent. But that's what, like, it's just so, it's crazy. It's amazing to me. It kind of a little bit restores my faith in humanity, because since she disappeared, so far from like people being like, well, you know, she's gone. It's been 25 years. We can't find her. 32 miles have been flown by a drone trying to find her. Over 2,200 photos have been taken by a drone. There's been 137 points of interest that the police have investigated. There's been 137 cadaver dog miles that have been walked. There have been 1,551 human miles that have been walked trying to find her. There have been 169 cell phones that have been issued to different search teams trying to find her. Like, the amount of resources that people and companies and law enforcement have invested to find her is, I mean, it's heartwarming. It's broken. It's like, makes me brokenhearted for the family, because obviously nothing has worked and they don't have answers and they don't have closure. But they know that people care.
That people are still looking right now.
Yes.
We should talk. I wonder, who do we know that's a psychologist that could be like, how long would something like a dissociative fugue state last? Would that be like, if she did like have her brain just like popped and she got out of the car and walked away? Like, is that something that would naturally heal? And she'd be like, hey, or would she stay in that state and just like adopt a whole other life?
I think you can have both happen. But then you also have, like, if that happened And she came to her senses at some point, which she had been so ashamed of, walking away and leaving her daughter, that maybe she doesn't want to go back.
Yeah.
But if anybody ever sees or finds out information about Traci's whereabouts, you can contact the Elmore County Sheriff's Office in Alabama, or you can contact your local FBI office. They are also on this case, but doing more good than they did in Jonathan's case.
Thank goodness.
Because
Restore our faith in the FBI.
I mean, that case hurt my feelings a little bit because I want to love the FBI, and I do love the FBI. But that,
like, you guys, come on, you made us all look bad.
It's like, look, I wanna be able to attach my name to you and be proud to say that I worked for you, not be like, oh, well, this is awkward.
Oh, we're gonna bring that up, are we? All right. Well, so if people want to go, have they done any of those like portraits where that you can see how she might have aged, type of a thing?
I couldn't find one.
Oh, okay.
But she had very 90s hair. She had like kind of these really cute sweeping curls like away from her face, and they were frosted. She'd got brown hair, like kind of this like frosted brown, and she had hazelnut eyes. Super cute. If we ever start an Instagram page for this podcast, I'll post a picture of her.
Awesome. But if people wanted to see what she looks like back in 1995, right? Eight?
1998.
Okay. Back in 1998. Then, because she got married in 95, right?
Her daughter was born in 95.
Oh, see, I knew something really important happened in 95.
Married in 93, daughter born in 95, decided to divorce in 97, divorce finalized in 98.
Okay. All right. You can go see a picture of her if you Google it.
Oh, 100%. If you type her name into any search engine, her face pops right up. This is a case that people actively still talk about.
Wow. And that's right, because we do have more than one search engine. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
Any of them will work.
You can. You could do Bing if you're crazy. You can do Google if you're normal. You can do Safari if you're a dedicated Apple person. I mean, options.
I think Firefox. Options
No, literally nobody uses Firefox anymore.
Oh, see, the last person I talked to was probably Mom or Aunt Gail. So I see what you're saying.
They might use Firefox. I think when I was working for the government, every now and again they would try to convince me to use Firefox, and I was like, no thanks. I'm not doing that. I'm like, oh, but this program runs better on Firefox. I'm like, literally no program runs better on Firefox. Things happen this day. And it's Traci Pittman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Traci Kegley. Either search term will bring her up. Most people, most of the things that I found refer to her as Traci Pittman Kegley.
Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Isn't that crazy though? That there was a world where you could just disappear and never be found.
Yeah, that is. I've read books about it, but I don't know anybody who's had that happen.
No, and I because I think about, like, Shane talks about going off grid, right? Which we're never going to do because I love Costco, but he talks about it. And, I'm like, that would be so hard. It would be so hard to truly disappear. I mean, today, in today's day and age, the digital footprint is just so massive for everybody. I mean, most people have just completely given up their expectations of privacy.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
Anybody under the age of 20 has.
Oh, absolutely. I am 100% like, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so who the heck cares?
That's what we have a brother who's delightful, who always talks about, like China getting his information. I'm like, China does not care about your information.
Not even a little.
And also, everything you're trying to hide is so easy to find. Like, for years and years, he wouldn't get a robot vacuum cleaner because it would map out his house. And I'm like, did you know that the blueprint to your home is available online? Like, I can buy it. If China wants to know what the blueprint of your home is, they can.
It's not that hard.
Just save your wife some time and effort and buy the vacuum.
Buy the vacuum.
Which he did eventually do, but he doesn't allow it to go into their bedrooms.
Okay.
So, Okay.
Well, you gotta draw the line. You gotta draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. And I will say he is way smarter than I am in the sense of like directions and navigations, because he refuses to use Google Maps or Apple Maps because they do track your location if you use them, and they store that information and will disclose it to police if a warrant requests it.
When does he plan on having a warrant?
Well, I don't think it's that. I think it's the concept, right? I think he doesn't like the
Right,
concept
yeah.
that somebody else, like a third party, is storing information about his location.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't have location services turned on in his phone, like, at all. Although I'm pretty sure it's actually pretty much impossible to do that. So his phone is probably still tracking him a little bit. But the point is he can navigate from point A to point B much, much better than I can. Because if I'm going somewhere new and I look at the address, I'm like, that seems like I don't know where it is. And I put it into Google. He looks at an address and he's like, oh, I can figure out where that is.
I can figure that out. Good for him. It's his own personal puzzle, like daily commute.
I know, and he's really good at it, which is awesome. Because I have lost that skill.
I think that my husband could disappear. He would just not take anything digital with him.
He would just walk out of a car and walk
Yeah.
into the woods and never be seen again.
Yeah, he'd be like that Sasquatch. He'd be like, "Why? We think we saw somebody, but they weren't sure."
He had this really epic beard,
Like
a lonely face.
haunted eyes. He seemed too much.
He was becoming one with the wolves? I don't know.
He would just totally get up and walk away. Then he would only ever like do a fire protected at night so no one could see the smoke, you know.
He could absolutely go off grid. I think he also...
It's like, don't go looking for him because obviously he didn't want to be here.
Yeah. I think sometimes, like Shane, I think could do that. Mm-hmm. I like to think that his love for his wife and children would stop him from doing that. Although, I mean, there's days where, I don't know, he might do it. But I also think that secretly he also loves some of his creature comforts a little too much to ever go off grid completely.
Well, see, I think Lance would do it if for some reason we all died tragically.
We would never see Lance again.
Yeah, he would be like, he wouldn't even say goodbye. He would just disappear.
Yep.
That being said, I love hot water at a twist of a knob.
Big fan.
I love 20 minutes to a grocery store that has my needs is my max. You know, if it was like something big, like a Costco, I'd give it an hour, sure. But I'm like, I love it. I want a little bit of space, but I don't want to be like, no, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I've given Shane 2. That's a 2 hours to a Costco is my
outside limit.
That is my happy compromise, right? Like if we live in a town where there is still like the basic grocery store in the town, and I can get, on
our 100 acres.
I don't want 100 acres. 10 is also my maximum for that. But
here's the thing: with that many acres, you just have them be. They just do their own thing.
I know, but the problem is, I know, like, you have to keep them all fenced in, and you have to have no trespassing signs, because otherwise somebody could come in and they could take 5 of those acres, and if they live there, and if they stay there long enough, you just lose rights to them.
You just gotta, like, ride the acres every once in a while. Once a week.
Do you have time to ride 100 acres once a week?
No, that's definitely Shane's job.
Yeah.
He would love it. He have a little track.
If he did it.
We need to put a fence up because this line, his motorcycle line, would be the boundaries.
His dirt bike line.
Yep.
Take the boys with him on a little ride along.
A fantastic day.
I think 100 acres just is. I just don't know. Aside from setting up a compound for the apocalypse, I don't know what we would do with 100 acres. I know what we would do with 20 acres, right? Like we'd have a shooting range. We'd have a dirt bike track. I'd have an epic garden. We'd have our house. Ideally, like a little pond or a river.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. But bigger than that, it just starts to get... It starts to feel cumbersome.
What you have after that, after the 20 acres, you have the other 80 acres, right? Is you have your wood lot and you have your hunting ground. You got your grouse, your deer, your elk, whatever. Your bear, cougar, whatever it is you're looking for.
We are watching this show right now on YouTube. One of Shane's elk channels is posting it, of this 8-day elk hunt that these 4 groups did, two people in each group, for their elk hunt in Idaho. But their twist, because they're all like really good, experienced elk hunters, and they needed to make it like YouTube watch worthy, is they weren't allowed to bring basically any food with them. So they could bring one like freeze dried peak refuel meal each and one protein bar type of a thing that was pretty calorically dense. And then if they get an elk, they get one more meal for like packing it out to their main base camp and stuff, because obviously that takes a lot of energy and calories and stuff. So in addition to elk hunting, which is already super exhausting because it's a very mobile hunting, some animals you just sit and you don't move when you're hunting them. Elk, you are climbing all over mountaintops and ranges when you're hunting them, right? Like it's miles of hiking a day.
At least the way our husbands do it. They're like
Yeah.
up and down and up and down. And then they might take a little nap in the afternoon when the elk are napping, but then they get up and they start doing it all over again.
Yeah. But so they're spending their afternoons trying to find like grouse and rabbits and squirrels and mushrooms, because that's it. Otherwise they don't eat. Anyway,
That's really
there's been a
fun.
lot of talk
Shane
of grouse.
will do this. He's like, yes,
Well,
I'm in this.
I told Shane, because he didn't get an elk last year. He saw a few, but he didn't get them, but he saw tons of grouse. And so I told him this year, because we're all going to go hunting with him this year. We're going to stay up at the cabin in the area. And I was like, you need to bring me a grouse, because now I'm super curious about trying one. This guy said that it's a little bit like a gamey chicken.
I've had grouse. It's good.
I feel like grouse could be delicious. And so I need him to shoot me a grouse. And in Idaho, they're considered like varmints, so you can shoot them without a hunting license or anything, right? Like you can just shoot them whenever you see them. And I need him to shoot me a grouse on a day that he's not bringing me back an elk, so that I can cook that up for our family.
You probably will want two.
Yeah, they did seem quite small.
Yeah. They just poof up. You're like, oh yeah, and you're like, what?
Yeah, that's true, because he shot him. And we've seen at this point, because it's like episode 8 that we watched last night or something, and we've seen quite a few grouse get shot. And first of all, it's amazing how easy it is to skin them. I mean, it wouldn't be that easy for me, but these people are doing it in like 2 minutes, which is incredible. But they look so big when they shoot them, and then they like show you the meat they get off of them, and I'm like, well, that
In the palm of their hand.
drastically reduced in size.
Yeah.
Your feathers are real puffy.
Mm-hmm. That keeps them warm, because they're like, they don't go anywhere. They just hang out. It gets snowy, and then they gotta stay warm.
They're gotta have those feathers for warmth.
Exactly. It's all these feathers make me look poofy.
But yeah, so that I think I could not go off grid. I like calling my family. I like eating food that is not all game food.
Yep.
I like buying food from a grocery store. And hot water.
Mm-hmm. Hot water. Mm.
So our compromise point is just a really small town. That's how Shane will get to go off grid.
Okay. That's good.
Small town with a lot of land. That's his dream.
That's a good place. I think you're going to be pretty set there during an apocalypse as well.
Yeah, you're all more than, not you all, like collectively our listeners, but like you all, your family, Juka, are welcome to come in the event of an apocalypse. I just don't think we'll have enough food for everybody.
Actually, we're not going to tell you wherever it is.
No. A state is the most that anybody will ever get out of where we live.
Well, thank you for the true crime. Now I'm going to be looking at people totally different and be like, hey, who are you?
Did you run away from your family? Did you get abducted from your family? Blink twice if you're okay. It is. It's crazy. It's just people are so interesting, because, I mean, whoever took her, why? And if she just walked away, why?
Why?
And if aliens abducted her, why?
Why? Right,
Like,
because I feel like if it was aliens and they could get an adult version and a baby version of the species, they would definitely want both.
Yeah, and I also am just not sold on that in any way, shape, or form. Like, it was definitely a human intervention in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. But why? And, like, what happened? And will we ever find out?
Unless, like, a wormhole opened up. She did go to the bathroom. She got out to go to the potty, in the bushes, and a wormhole opened, and she's now in a parallel universe.
Yeah, that would suck. I do want our listeners to know I have Google alerts set on my phone for all the open cases that we cover and that we will cover, so that if anything new pops up, we will bring you updates.
Oh, very nice.
Like if we get new information, if anything happens on Jonathan Luna's case or Traci Pittman's case, I will update you and let you know with any updates.
I feel like there's maybe even a possibility for Traci
Pittman.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. This case, because they're still looking, but I don't think Jonathan stands very good.
No, I don't think Jonathan stands a good chance either, especially since they have found his body and they're not looking any further into it.
Yeah.
But Traci Pittman's, I have hopes because they're still looking, and because even though it was like 7 years ago, they said that they got new evidence, which means there's evidence to find.
Yeah, and that they're still looking, which is awesome.
Yeah, and so I do think there's a possibility we get information about her someday, whenever that day comes. Awesome. So yeah, that's the story of Traci Pittman Kegley. And our tangents about living off the grid and living life in the wild.
Tea and formula.
That's the other reason I would not go off the grid while we have little babies. I mean, there's like 500 reasons I would not go off the grid with little babies. And the baby Brez is one of them.
Yep.
It's like a Keurig for formula. And I love it. But until next time, listeners, keep your tea hot and your curiosity hotter.